Today on Rappler.
Hindi ko po matiis ang masang Pilipino at lalong hindi ko matiis ang lungsod kung saan ako'y sinilang ay magiging ganito. Isang lungsod na lubog, hindi lamang sa baha, kundi lubog sa utang.
Former President Estrada launches his candidacy as mayor of Manila, saying the historic city decayed under incumbent Mayor Alfredo Lim.
Baka nakainom siya. Kaya yun ang sinasabi niya. And daming improvement dito sa Manila. Ayan, nakita mo, nagtataasan yung mga building. Oh. Ano yan, nabubulok ba yan?
Manila Mayor Alfredo Lim calls Estrada a liar, a drunk, and a plunderer during his proclamation rally. And South Korea says it will retaliate against any provocation by North Korea after Pyongyang says it's at war with the South. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Former President Erap Joseph Estrada and Manila Vice Mayor Isko Moreno launched their campaign for the Philippine capital of Manila. Ayi Makaraig reports.
Teka po mga kaibigan, umuusok, may puting usok yung City Hall. Habemos Mayor! May bago ng alkalde! Ano sa Manila?
It's not a conclave, it's Easterada Sunday. Former President Joseph Estrada formally launches his bid to be mayor of the country's capital, turning what's supposed to be a religious day to a political extravaganza. Estrada says he will now refrain from personal attacks against ally-turned-rival Manila Mayor Alfredo Lim. But in one of the country's hottest local races, it seems nothing is sacred.
Puro loko-loko yun, kaya gusto nila April Fool. Amen. This is the pagkabuhay ng Panginoon sa Kristo. Bubuhay namin uli ang Maynila. That's why we time it on Easter.
The so-called resurrection of Manila is the theme of the proclamation of Estrada and running mate Manila Vice Mayor Isko Moreno. The former San Juan mayor, criticized for being an interloper, unveils his plan to bring back Manila's old glory. Estrada says Manila is decaying under Lim's leadership, vowing to focus on peace and order, investments, jobs, fiscal transparency, and urban renewal if elected. Armed with reports from the Commission on Audit, Interior Department, police, and newspapers, Estrada paints the city as bankrupt and a criminal haven.
Hindi ko po matiis ang masang Pilipino at lalong hindi ko matiis ang lungsod kung saan ako'y sinilang ay magiging ganito. Isang lungsod na lubog, hindi lamang sa baha, kundi lubog sa utang.
Moreno also goes on the attack using his own brand of wit.
21 years ago, is there such thing as entertainment city in Parañaque noong Marso 15, nagbukas na po ang isa sa 5.
Nakapunta na ba kayo? Solare? Ano naman ang meron 21 years after ang syudad ng Maynila? Anyari, Mayor? Nga.
While Estrada and Moreno envision the future of Manila, Lim reminds voters of Estrada's past. The former president thinks it's a non-issue.
Hinanay pa niya yung plunder, I was convicted. That's beside the point.
Estrada and the opposition also slam Lim for his reputation as Dirty Harry and an alleged cotton cop, showing that in Manila's two-cornered bout, each candidate has his own demons. Jobs, investments, peace, and order. Estrada says it's time to focus on these issues instead of personal attacks like his plunder conviction. But Lim is quick to point out Estrada's tainted record is a legitimate issue. Manila's voters have 1 month left to decide not just on the two candidates' platforms, but also their backgrounds. Ayi Makaraig, Rappler.
Incumbent Manila Mayor Alfredo Lim responds to attacks from his rivals during his campaign launch for re-election. He calls Estrada a liar, a drunk, and a plunderer. Natasha Gutierrez reports.
Nasintensyahan ba yan? Nasandigan ba yan? Ano sintensya? Habang buhay at isoli daw yung pera, yung salapi na kinuha sa taong bayan.
Both the scorching sun and the fiery words make Mayor Alfredo Lim's proclamation rally a heated affair. Lim doesn't hold back from slamming former President Joseph Estrada, who is running against him for mayor of the country's capital. On stage, he calls Estrada a liar. On the sidelines, he says Estrada must be drunk to think Manila has decayed under his rule.
Baka nakainom siya. Kaya yun ang sinasabi niya. And daming improvement dito sa Manila. Ayan, nakita mo, nagtataasan yung mga building. Oh. Ano yan, nabubulok ba yan?
He outlines his platforms and refutes all of Estrada's points, saying he has provided Manileños with accessible education and healthcare.
Tayo lang ang may 6 na ospital sa mahigit 140 lungsod dito sa buong bansa. O, 2 kolehiyo natin, libre, zero tuition. Walang bayad sa registration, library, laboratory, o athletic, wala, zero, kahit sa pera. Ang anak ninyo, makakatapos sa kolehiyo, magiging professional.
The war over Manila is expected to be one of the hottest local races come May. Estrada says he will restore Manila's glory if elected, but Lim is bent on serving his 3rd and final term. The 83-year-old Lim is confident of his chances and boasts of President Benigno Aquino III's endorsement. Lim, a longtime ally of the Aquino family, enjoys the president's support after the former backed his mother's presidency. Aquino says Lim proved his loyalty to the people when he sided with his mother over dictator Ferdinand Marcos during the People Power Revolution. He does not criticize Lim's opponents but makes it clear he trusts the re-electionist.
Pero malinaw po, sa pamumuno ni Mayor Lim sa Maynila, hindi po tayo kailangan nahirapan na makipag-ugnayan sa kanya at nangungulang po siya sa paglilingkod sa ating mga bayan.
The rally of Team Pinoy gathers over 7,000 supporters clad in yellow, but it is nowhere close to Easterada Sunday, the event of Estrada and his slate a day earlier with 75,000 attendees. Estrada is allied with the opposition, the United Nationalist Alliance. Will the city choose an insanely popular former president who finished second to Aquino in 2010, or will it side with a well-loved sitting president and his bet? Manila isn't the only thing at stake. A Lim victory is an important political statement for the president, symbolic of his influence not just in the next 3 years, but arguably over the 2016 presidential elections. Natasha Gutierrez, Rappler, Manila.
A US-based firm agrees to release the source code of ballot counting machines for review by Philippine authorities. Critics say it will ensure election transparency. Commission on Elections Chair Sixto Brillantes Jr. says Dominion Voting Systems has, quote, basically agreed to release the source code of PCOS machines. Brillantes says in Filipino, there's a 95% chance it will push through. We just have to fix a few details. The COMELEC chair adds, there's a small chance of disagreements that will prevent a source code review. COMELEC is required by the Automated Election System Law to promptly make the PCOS source code, quote, available and open to any interested political party or groups which may conduct their review thereof. A legal battle between Dominion and Smartmatic stalled the source code review for months. The Philippines on Sunday welcomes the removal of a U.S. minesweeper stuck on Tubatahe Reef for 10 weeks. But the Philippines stresses the U.S. must pay for the environmental damage. Salvage teams contracted by the U.S. Navy Saturday extract the last remaining piece of the USS Guardian from Tubatahe Reef. Communications Secretary Herminio Coloma says, we maintain there must be accountability and we will enforce our existing laws. Initial investigation shows the ship damaged about 4,000 square meters of the reef. Tubatahe is a protected marine park under Philippine law and is off limits to any vessel without permission from park authorities. Officials say fines can reach up to $585 for every square meter damaged. An all-Filipino team is ready to start assessing the extent of the coral reef damage caused by the grounding of the USS Guardian. WWF Philippines Vice Chair and CEO Jose Maria Lorenzo Tan says the assessment will help ascertain the fines that should be imposed on the U.S. Navy. South Korean President Park Geun-hye vows, quote, strong retaliation to any provocation by North Korea after Pyongyang declared it is at war with Seoul. In a meeting with military officials, Park says she took the threats from the North, quote, very seriously. Park says, I believe that we should make a strong and immediate retaliation if the North stages any provocation against our people. Military tension between the two countries have been running high for weeks. Pyongyang last month ended the armistice agreement between North and South Koreas in protest over the joint South Korean-U.S. military drills. It also threatens to strike South Korean and U.S. targets. Seoul and Washington warn of repercussions in the event of any aggression, with the U.S. deploying stealth bombers over South Korea as, quote, deterrence. On Monday, the U.S. military says it deployed F-22 Raptor stealth fighters to South Korea as part of an ongoing military exercise. The jets reportedly flew out of the U.S. airbase in Okinawa, Japan. On Sunday, North Korea vows it would strengthen its nuclear weapons and says it would never trade its atomic deterrent for aid. The Philippines Foreign Affairs Department prepares to bring home Filipinos in South Korea in case tension escalates. DFA spokesperson Raul Hernandez says they've raised Alert Level 1 for Filipinos there and identified exit points. He says Filipinos will be relocated for eventual repatriation either by plane or ship. On Saturday, North Korea says it is at war with South Korea and threatens to close a border industrial zone. Manila calls for an end to provocative actions that would raise tensions in the Korean peninsula. North Korea appoints former Premier Pak Pong-ju as its new Prime Minister. Pak is sworn in at the annual meeting of the Supreme People's Assembly Monday. He replaces Cho Yong-rim. Pak previously served as Prime Minister from 2003 to 2007, but was sacked from the post in 2007 after backlash against his pursuit of economic reforms. Finance Secretary Cesar Purisima says the recent credit upgrade from Fitch does not reflect how foreign investors view the Philippines as an investment destination. On March 27, global credit rating firm Fitch upgrades the Philippines credit rating from BB+ to BBB-. But Purisima says other credit rating agencies already rated the Philippines investment grade years ago.
You know, the market rates us 2 notches above investment grade. We're probably the most underrated country in the world. I think we deserve the investment grade. When you look at it from an external standpoint, we're a net creditor country already. When you look at our fiscal situation, our deficit is well under control. In fact, our debt to GDP is down to 40.9%. And if you look
Purisima says the big 3 international credit rating agencies, Fitch Ratings, Standard & Poor's, and Moody's Investor Service, lag behind the foreign investors' credit risk assessment of the Philippines. Tune in to www.rappler.com on April 4 for the full interview. Finance Secretary Cesar Purisima is extremely bullish and tells us the challenges ahead. Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 4, Pope Francis prays for peace in the Korean Peninsula in his first message on Easter Sunday. Delivering his speech from Vatican City, the Pope says, quote, may disagreements be overcome and a renewed spirit of reconciliation grow. On Saturday, North Korea declared war against South Korea, increasing military tensions on the peninsula. The Pope also prays for peace in Syria and for victims of human trafficking, drug trafficking, and natural and man-made disasters.